Morning. So this video is going to be barely about Pumpfun at all, but I just wanted to bring it up. So I saw somebody saying, in actual live on Pumpfun, like to his audience to literally rug pull. So he's like, get in the token early, 2x, 3x, and get out. That's a rug pull. That is a dump. Doing that, directing people to do that, that's illegal. You're not supposed to do that. If you're a 20-year-old and you're telling your audience to go and rug pull, you can go to jail for that, dude. Careful. So that's why when I'm talking to people, I'm like, don't ever exit. Just pull out a little bit. Get that 20% profit. Don't exit. Watch it go down, come back in again. That's the type of trades that I do. That protects me from, personally, it protects me from being classified as a rug pull when I'm doing things, when I'm making trades. But I don't even have a large volume. If you have large volumes and you're doing that, you're going 2x and you go, that's like prison time illegal. So there's a difference. There's rug pull and it's just immoral, or a pump and dump and then it's moral, but a rug pull, huge volumes, that's where you're gonna have some problems. I've been talking about this in little text chats on Phantom for a little bit now. And I don't think people can really get, it through their head that that's the truth. Give me 1 second. I can't even see myself because I'm dark screen right now. But to see literally people speaking and saying to do a 2x or a 3x and then just leave, in their own words with their own face on Pumpfun itself, is so terrible. I feel bad for them because they're 20-year-olds and they don't realize how bad that is. Give me a moment. I'm gonna make this. Yeah, if they can get someone else, other people to do what they're doing, then basically they make the problem much more widespread, and then it's harder to take it down, stop the problem, and it's also hard to get that information across that it is a problem to the people causing the problem, right? That pretty much goes with everything. That goes with crime in general, especially with widespread crime. So you got people that are trying to get away with it, but they're also trying to get other people into it, because the more people that are into it, the more people that are doing it, the harder it is to stop it. The thing that these guys don't understand is that this is technology. They should understand this. Everything can be tracked. Like that rug pull video that I posted, that's not the end of the video. All I did was cut it. I had the person's wallet address. I had their transactions, found the wallet that they put it into, all their profits. I tracked exactly where they went with that money. And that wasn't hard to do. All you had to do was go on SoulScan. If you're really that curious about it. Go look up a transaction on SoulScan and then look at the wallet that it went sent to. And then look for a transaction from there. Go follow that transaction. It's simple, very simple stuff. If these 20-year-olds think that they're just going to get away with all of these rug pulls, they're like sadly mistaken. It's just a matter of time. You got 5 years to avoid federal prison sentences for a financial crime. So Pumpfun is only 3 years old. That means everybody who launched a token on day one with Pumpfun and rug pulled is still susceptible to receiving these penalties. Careful, guys. Now, for you criminals that are causing these issues, there's something to be said about trolls. Trolling somebody for no reason. So you keep taking from me, keep screwing me over. Obviously, I'm going to start looking around at what the problem is, and I'm going to call it out for what it is. It's kind of your faults, right? If you got, whoever might be pulling or trying to pull the wool over my eyes and trying to fuck me, all you have done is caused me to look deeper into the issue. You fucked yourselves. And that's what evil does. It fucks itself. But it fucks itself along with a whole group of people at the same time. So let me go back to the conclusion. Let me go back to the beginning of it, because I got a few people on here right now. On Pumpfun, I saw somebody saying to his audience, he said to go 2x and pull out immediately. Just go in early and pull out 2x. That's what they said. And that is a rug pull. And that is promoting a rug pull. That is illegal. He says to exit. What do I say to you guys? Jump in with $1, leave it. If you see some profit, pull that profit out, but leave behind what you initially put in. I'm safe when it comes to that. I do implore you all to go look into the Banking Mastery token, where the meme could become reality. The door is open. It's early. You didn't have to wait overnight to get into this bank. Go on Pumpfun. Find my token at Godfinger. Banking Mastery. I backed it up with some liquidity now. I haven't locked it. Shouldn't matter. This is going to be a meme pump. It's not going to be the actual project token, but it will be in the spirit of the project. And it will be used to promote the project as well. But the reason why these guys are teaching you how to do a rug pull and how to do these things is so that there's more people doing what they do and they can get away with it for a little bit longer. That's how crime works. They're not telling you anything like some kind of magic rule to anything. Like, it's easy to put in on something and then pull out completely. It's easy. You know, you can do that on a dollar. But if you're going to do that on $50, $100, $1,000, you're screwing people out of a lot of money all at once. And you're being completely unfair. And if you're not going to leave anything behind, you're going to pump and then dump and just leave them like a used whore. I really pray for you, because you have 5 years after having done that to not be pursued. Federal crimes, when it comes to finance, have a 5-year window. Statute of limitations is 5 years. Pumpfun is only 3 years old. So whoever did launches in the beginning of Pumpfun are screwed. But it seems so easy to protect the markets. It actually is. It actually is. Like, here's the thing is that on $5, I turned that into $93. That was maybe a week and a half ago. And it took me 3 days, 3 or 4 days to do it. How did I do it? I did it in the exact same way that I explained to you guys. I didn't exit. All I did was pull profits and stay in with the initial. So I waited for it to go down. And when I watched the market, I saw the chart. Okay, we're looking bullish right now. I'll go ahead and throw, instead of that $1, okay, now we're down for a minute, a dip, throw $4 and change, whatever was, whatever was missing from that dollar. And then it goes up. Sometimes it'll go up to 15. Maybe I'll go 3x. That's how I ended up, making $93 on just $5. Very simple. You do not need a computer for it. You don't need a Jito bundler for it. The thing about it is you have to see when the Jito bundlers are there. If a Jito bundler is there, don't trade. Get out. Get out. You cannot fight against a robot unless you become professional like me and you're able to spot what the robot's intention is, because there's a human behind it. The human sat there and wrote code for all these things to happen. It's going to go up, down, specific things. You can kind of get into the human's head by watching what the computer's doing. And that's what I did. And I was able to call out quite a few times 10x's, 5x's. On my Pumpfun, the first token that I called out, I had it guaranteed deep down in my heart. And I even felt convicted to it after it dropped for a second. 5x. It was like, no, it was a 7x. It went 7x. Bam. But that was my very first token that I actually called out on Pumpfun. I was able to see what these bots were doing, and it was a pattern, and it was like, it's just, there's something to it that my brain can pick up on these patterns. Like Webb, they're saying oil is dropping, but it is a stark reaction, probably reducing reserves, so another perfect buy. Yeah, potentially. Yep, absolutely. The thing is that's how all the markets work. So it's all in the same. You got people with a lot of money. They got in early. That's why they're not emotional. They don't even care the world's burning. They stay in. That's why gold is still worth something, even after, toilet paper went up through the roof. So, you can't wipe your ass with gold. You wipe your ass with toilet paper, though. You know what I mean? Like, the rich people don't care because they're already rich. That's why a billionaire is a billionaire, because they got in early. But think about what that kind of mentality is when you get in early. That means you're offering support to everyone. You're not being stingy. You're not being an asshole. You're not being a thief. That's why. Elon is a saint. Trump is a saint. These people pumped the future. You have to understand, the billionaires are not your enemy. The billionaires are who got in first and funded the future. The millionaires are the ones that are fucking you because they're the failed billionaires. They don't know how to be a billionaire because they're assholes. Yeah, these profits are costing the integrity of nations. That's just how it works, man. That's how it's always going to work. Not yelling at you either, but that's just how it works. If you want to be the billionaire, be early and be decent. God is real. God blessed Elon. God blessed Trump. You can confirm what I'm saying just by looking at historical data on these charts. You can totally guarantee that that's the situation. So China also owes money. So Mr. Person that's like troll. Look, this is a paid troll right here. I'm seeing not Stephen Kelly Belly. That's not a paid troll. We got Britt Tagney. He says he's Xiaoyang. He's Chinese. He laughs so hard, him and his Chinese people, that we borrow money from them and pay them interest so they can give it to bosses in Israel. That's the thing that stood out, the whole Israel thing. Like, what? The amount of money that goes to Israel compared to everything else we spend money on is like zero, dude. The fact that you would even bring that up shows that you're a paid actor. You know, you want to talk about an actual atrocity. You want to talk about where money's actually being robbed from the American people by the Chinese. It's through drug cartels in Mexico. Chinese are not allowed to pull out $50,000 of their own worth of their own currency per year without permission from the Chinese government. Now, what they do is they launder the United States dollar and they get it from drug cartels by selling fentanyl precursors. This isn't like theory. This is fact. The research is already done. This is what they're doing. I'm going to talk about atrocities. They're selling our lives up to 100,000 people dead a year because of fentanyl to China. That's what's going on. You want to see it? You want to talk about an atrocity? It ain't Israel. You sit there and laugh about China making money on us. At least you said that part. Hey, don't spam. Don't spam or I'm going to take you off the damn channel. I don't care what fucking country you're from, dude. Like, think about it. If you're going to be like spammy, make an original comment. You see how you got a different comment on each thing? Go ahead and do that. Don't you dare spam or you're off of my fucking channel, dude. All right, let's read. It can only work like that for 5 to 10 years at most, then it's corporate Elon Musk probation. No, it's literally how the entire world worked. That's how the Rothschilds worked. They gave coins to people. The same thing that the United States did in general is we gave money to all the nations. The Rothschilds gave out coinage to people, and they set up their own banking system. That's been going on for not just hundreds of years, that's been going on for thousands of years. So, you want to get down to the point. And I'm not yelling at you guys, by the way. I'm just saying, you're just passionate against this troll bullshit. We love a king who takes care of his hair and wears a satin bonnet. Oh, okay. That doesn't even make any sense, dude. That would be effective to like a Chinese like cringe lord or something. That's not really effective to me or most Americans. Sorry. Nice try. To be fair, what we have spent money thus far on the conflict in Iran could have provided affordable higher education to every American. And the amount of money that's been given to foreign invaders could have done that 15 times over. all the foreign invaders coming from that country and all of the other countries that want to break into this country. All of that aid could have fed the entire nation for years, for another 100 years. Hey, how you doing? Welcome, Gary. Or GSA Ryan. I just like that you take care of your hair. A lot of guys don't do that. Do you agree? Oh. We were almost out of the Obama era Middle Eastern money pit, which was Middle East. Dude, that's not as big of a money pit as the invasion. People taking our fucking jobs, dude. First of all, just because you smoke weed shouldn't prevent you from getting a commercial driver's license. People can drive just fine, especially if they're not smoking blunts on the freaking road, okay? I mean, like, come on. There's people with high tolerance. They can drive just fine, okay? These jobs are being given to foreigners, to invaders, destroying our supply chain at the end of the day, all right? It just pisses me off that people want to bring up this Israel thing. Israel, it's like so much hate towards it's not even an issue, really, because we're helping an ally. While people are just going to ignore the invasion on our border. Yeah, China also is dependent on us. So somebody said the U.S. has an abysmal debt, unpayable unless future generations are enslaved. China's raking in trillions. China is dependent on selling us stuff. That's why when we said 100% tariffs, they were all up in arms, like, oh no, because they depend on us. What the hell are you talking about? Like, enslaved. China's enslaved. China's enslaving its own people. God is real, absolutely. Yeah, Israel is an ally to us. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, Israel is holding the line. This little tiny country, all surrounded by barbaric nations, and we're dealing with, we got Saudi Arabia on our side. We have people on our side. We have people over there that are on our side that understand that peace is the answer. Ukraine, you want to talk about Ukraine? We got involved with a war that we should not have. We got involved with a war and handed them weapons and literally started a war between us and Russia. Like, and that wasn't us doing it. That was Biden. Now you hear about the Biden diary, basically. It's like there was a coin called Biden diary, but it brings up a good point that Joe Biden in 2009 ended up finding like documents in a basement or something, and he just had a bunch of confidential paperwork that he wasn't supposed to have. Did you hear about that? No, you heard about the Trump, though. You heard about the Trump situation where Trump was being, prosecuted for years during his first term. I think he should be running for 2028 if he was able to do it. He deserves a third term because he was robbed of his first. Yeah, dude, Britt Tagney, your messages are very cringe and they're very Chinese. Okay? It doesn't work. Like, listen, you rise, you decline. Oh, wait, we rise, you decline, you borrow money from us. Like, you sound like a retard. We have so many good things in America thanks to the education. We have learned from Israel throughout the years, but it's not just Israel. It's about just religion. We're a Christian nation. We are separate from Israel. We are Christianity. Israel is Zionist. And Zionism, look it up. All it is nationalism. It's not, it's nothing outward. It's not an outward force. It's an inward force. Nothing wrong with just being a sovereign nation and being for your own country. China needs to employ 1.5 billion people. A strong government is needed to maintain balance and harmony. The U.S. is lost in drugs, violence, etc. The world is lost in violence, drugs, violence, and you go look at Denmark, you look at Germany. It's all over the world. It's in Paris. It's everywhere. America is not unique when it comes to this problem. This is just evil. You're just pointing out what's everywhere. Who's causing it? That's what you need to be looking into. Who's causing it? Chinese. Whoa! Hi-ya! I love Steven Crowder's interpretation. Zionism is not the movement to decolonize Israel, in my opinion, like just by definition. But even if it was, regardless, the Jewish people are like an exclusive, kind of tightly knit. They don't want too many outsiders type of community. All right. Christians have included the outside world, and we need to stop doing that. Christians are different than Jewish. The Old Testament Christianity is the refined version of the Old Testament, and there is a difference. There's a split difference between Jewish and Christianity, but we coexist because we're coming from the same religion. We have no quarrels, and in fact, we're friends. Yeah, if there's so that shows the problem is that there's an invasion. So here, there's 1.6 million Muslim Israeli citizens. Yeah, that's an invasion. They've been invaded. Those people are running NGOs to push for an invasion into the West. That's not Zionism. As far you look up the definition, as far as I understand, Zionism is all just selfishness to a point. It's just nationalism. Okay. Let's see. Yes, CCP is to blame with Muslim Brotherhood. I haven't looked into the Muslim Brotherhood, but I've heard the name. Trump said that he was going to make that organization a terrorist organization. I think he should. If he didn't already, I think he already did. When we drink fresh water in America, we can thank Israel for teaching us how to do that. It's not, dude, stop. That is just getting weird. I'm going to be honest. Israel isn't the greatest nation on the planet. It's just America's the greatest nation on the planet. Hey, track that back a little bit. But what I am going to say is that Israel's holding the line for the religion, for Christianity. So, I do owe that much, is that they're standing strong and they're standing brave. But they need to kick out the fucking 1.6 million Muslims out of their country. That's for sure. They're not a Christian nation. They're a Jewish nation. They need to start actually caring for their own people. Christian institutionalized anti-Semitism started in 381 AD and continues today. Christian Zionism started in Britain in 1810. That's when Christians were less hateful. You need to watch Dr. David Wood. I'll look into that. But as far as I know, basically, the way that I look at it is like a macro scale. I'm not really looking at these little details. These little details are almost completely mute, except for the fact that there are 1.6 million Muslim citizens inside of Israel as citizens. That looks like an invasion to me. That looks like the same invasion that's happened into the entire Western world. These people are running those NGOs that are pushing for the invasion further because they're already in. They're behind the gate. You coming in? Oh yeah, come on. Oh yeah, dude. Well, you got to remember there's a difference between Muslims who are very good people and extreme Muslims. Well, no, it's just Islam. There's a difference between Muslims and Islam, but it doesn't matter because both are still taking, they're still taking the orders from the same people. Unfortunately, I understand exactly what you say because that's literally what I've been saying is that Muslims, just regular Muslims, have been taught differently than Islam, but they're still taking the orders from the same people. So you have to understand that. 1 second. Doesn't matter, who's voting. It matters who counts the votes. It matters who's in charge, and that's who's in charge when it comes to that. So it is an invasion. It doesn't matter if they're good or bad. There's still an invasion. Get them out. Convert them. If you don't follow Christianity as Christianity and speak to the God, the one true God, which is not Allah, then you need to get the fuck out of the country. So that's how I feel about it. All right. That's where, you got to set things straight, right? We really have to set everything straight. There's Muslims that are being taught a Christian ideology, and they have no idea that they are. So that's what you're saying is absolutely on point, 100%. There are Muslims that have been taught the right way. They've been actually tricked into Christianity. It's like a trick, but they had to be tricked into Christianity like that because it looks bad if they follow the actual Quran. The teachings in the Quran, it speaks of jihad. It speaks of jihad is a forced movement. That is the same as basically just terrorism. It's everything against Christianity. Christianity is, it's like a suggestive religion. We go out and say, Jesus saves, God loves you. That's a suggestive form of spreading the actual truth. Like, you can't defeat evil by force. But that's what the Quran is saying, to defeat evil by force through jihad. So whoever they say is the enemy, doesn't matter if you're Muslim Islam or Muslim Christian. If you're taking the orders from the same people that are in charge of that movement, you're gonna have a bad time. Look at what just happened in Berlin. Look at what just happened. Look what keeps happening. It's just terrorism after terrorism. These people aren't just in a vacuum deciding to go and do that. And the fact that they don't go through these people's internet data is insane. God and Allah, the same. Jesus as Allah Father in Aramaic. No, it's not the same. They're not following the same God. There's one God that screams jihad, and there's one God that screams do your best and build up and keep those who go against your God out of the tabernacle of the congregation. So there's differences. All right. I understand what you're saying, and that's all the things that I've said before, to coexist. But you're not supposed to naturalize them as citizens. So, and when I'm yelling, when I'm being all rash and everything, I'm not yelling at you guys. I'm just like really passionate about this subject because I see a lot of people that are very confused. You got China. People are saying China's great. Are you going to speak out against the Uyghur Muslim concentration camps in Xinjiang? Are you going to speak out against the prisoners, the imprisonment of Falun Gong, just a simple old form of Christianity? Are you going to speak out against the fact that they have a control over what was old tradition in China, and their dance almost got shut down? There's like a dance that they have, a festival every year. Like, there's all kinds of things that are happening in China that is just atrocities, and after atrocity, they don't care if 1 million people die in their country. They'll allow the the Two Gorges Dam or something. There was like a dam that broke and it just destroyed tons and tons of farmland. It made rice prices go way up. This was about 3 years ago. They didn't care. They didn't warn the world, hey, there's going to be a shortage of rice. They didn't say anything about that. China is like scum compared to the rest of the world when it comes to morality. They're in competition with the entire planet. You know, they're over colonizing in Africa. Are you going to speak out about that? They're taking over farm fields in South America. Are you going to speak out against that? You know, like, let's go talk about the actual atrocities that are going on. You know, you could say America this, America that, but the problem that we had is we put a few people in charge of a lot of things, like Bill Gates in Ethiopia through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They went and they suppressed Ethiopia from actually developing. And now it's just still a third world shithole. It could have been a prosperous nation if it wasn't for people saying, no, you can't build here. To their own people. Their own people can't build on their own land because the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation says no. Wow. But China can, you know, like, we got to talk about these actual atrocities that are going on. Do you know the Jews say that Jesus is in hell in a hot pot of exciting? I'm sure that some Jews say that, but it doesn't matter. Like, that's all lore and stuff. What is that? Like, what is the action behind it? Are they going and attacking Jesus itself? Are they like, whoa, we're going to get Jesus now? Like, what are they doing? They're not doing anything based on that. There's just some people going, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. But you got Muslims that are speaking Islam and making it look like Christianity. No, the Jews are not your enemy. God, man. If you're under 35 years old, you have no clue what's actually going on. I'm sorry, but you have not been on the planet long enough. You didn't see 9/11. You didn't see all of this stuff that's been going on and be able to piece it together and talk to the older generation as well as, you know, the people that are in charge now. You haven't had enough exposure to the truth. I don't believe that you've had enough exposure to the truth. You've been led down a rabbit hole. Jesus Christ destroyed the Roman Empire. Hell yeah. We came over here and we ended up running away from oppression. And that oppression was Catholicism and Persian entanglement and even paganism to a point, to a certain degree. The Gallic tribes and everything. Like, we ran away from all that stuff, and we refugeed all the way over here in America, and we made trade with the Indians. And we did things to establish a nation here in a relationship with the people on this land. Then the British came over and they fucked with everything. You want to get mad about anybody who came over to America and destroyed shit? That's Britain. That's South America. That's all the people who came and invaded after we came over here to walk away from them. Get mad at those countries. Don't get mad at Christians. Christians were walking away from a problem that they couldn't fix. The Roman Empire arrived with the imperial eagle and left with a skeleton on a cross. People saying that Jews are a problem, it's like, you're just racist. In my opinion, I look at that as racist. People are just angry at people because they believe in a certain God. Who cares? Actions speak louder than words, man. At the end of the day, the Bible is just words. If you're not following those actions, then you're not actually following God. What do you think about the Donald Trump and the Epstein files? I've been asked this a billion times, and it looks like you have definitely followed that rabbit hole, and your mind is corrupted. Yeah, you guys have very corrupted minds. You have been led down a rabbit hole. Understand the dark web is a playground with tunnels. And these tunnels were built by assholes. They built those tunnels so you could follow these information holes and only see this information, only think within inside that box. Me, I'm looking at everything. I look at everything, the whole big picture. And I base it on what I believe deep down, not what somebody else told me. That's why the facts don't really actually matter at the end of the day. In most cases, it actually comes down to macro perspective. History is written by the winners. So a lot of history is even false. So, if the Bible is just a compilation of saints and scribes, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? You just said that they're saints. You just gave them credence. You just validated them. You see what you're doing? Like, cringe. People are calling it a fairy tale when it was just a book to begin with. And instead of doing it by word of mouth, we threw it into a book so everybody could be on the same page. What's wrong with the Ten Commandments? Please tell me what's wrong with the Ten Commandments. What is so unholy about the Ten Commandments? If you can't tell me what's wrong with the Ten Commandments, then you don't know what you're talking about. Because what you're saying is that the Ten Commandments or something came from the devil or something. Tell me what's so demonic about the Ten Commandments. Nobody can say it. It came from scribes. Oh, Moses was just a human. Right? Tell me what's wrong with it. If you can't tell me what's wrong with it, then you're fucking completely, you don't know what you're talking about. Exactly. You don't have an actual argument. Bro, I am not young. I think I should be honest. I got freaking wrinkles, bro. Like, I sound young. I'm not young. You don't even know how old I am. How old do you guys think I am? Throw it in the chat. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you if you guys are close. So my name, it started as basically, the band Godsmack. So I was like Godfinger. So that's what my name is. So literally, it was just a play on a metal band. Oh God, yeah, this person right here is a damn troll. You're getting off my channel for good. You're gonna have to use another account to actually be an asshole like that. Yeah, I believe that you didn't need the Bible to just do the right thing. That's where I was at. That's where I was at about 6+ years ago. 5 years ago, I realized that you do need it. Because if you don't know the truth, then how are you supposed to do the right thing? If you don't know what's bad, how are you supposed to not do the wrong thing? That's why you need education, and the Bible is the best way to be educated. I would not have known the things to stay away from, the things to not do, and the things to do if I did not read the Bible and actually understand what it was trying to tell me. Yes, exactly. Now we got Rocket White. I agree. Even when somebody that doesn't believe in God, even somebody that doesn't believe in God could still benefit from the Ten Commandments. And that's why I'm trying to implore my audience, please tell me what's wrong with the Ten Commandments. Tell me how that comes from the devil. You can't. The response was, "Oh, you're young and you don't know what you're talking about." It doesn't take a rocket science. It doesn't take a fucking 800-year-old to see that the Ten Commandments is freaking perfectly fine and should be rule of law across the land. It doesn't take a genius. That's like fundamental. You can apply that to everything. That's how tribes work. You murder our people, then we have to murder you, and it's just no good, so let's not do it. If you steal from me, then I don't have anything, and then now I want to steal from you. It's like, it doesn't work out. You see what I mean? It's simple, it's tribal, it's pagan. If anything, it comes from paganism. It's not even from this, advanced culture that we have today. It comes from thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. The Ten Commandments came from thousands of years ago, not just 4,000. We're talking about before the Egyptians, before the pagans, before everything else. That was law of the land. That wasn't just had to be written in a book. That was like, oh, well, yeah, if we want to get along with this tribe, we don't want to murder their people. That's common sense, man. God bless you as well. This doesn't take a genius to wrap your head around. So it's just like, if you're seeing the Ten Commandments as some kind of evil coming from the bowels of hell, like, you have really got it wrong. It didn't take a genius. I didn't have to be a genius to know that. But I take it from personal experience because I realized that the things that I was missing in my life were that I didn't understand what was actually happening. No, I'm not perfect. Yes, I've made mistakes even since then. Just because God saved me doesn't mean that, I've made every single right choice, proper choice since then. Okay? But what it does mean is that I know why, and I can live with myself in peace, and I can die in peace knowing that, knowing the truth. I'm basically scientific and philosophy. Like, that's where it all comes from. I look at it from a scientific base point. Somebody asked me if I was religious, atheist, and agnostic, and all that, or if I am philosophical, scientific. I look at the Bible from a scientific perspective. I look at the Ten Commandments as like the 1 to 10 scale. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You multiply these numbers and you come up with the Bible. The Bible is literally just a rubric. It's a quick reference chart. If this happens, hey, we don't want to have to do all the calculations in between. We can see the story right here. It's just a mathematical concept. It can be understood philosophically. People know and agree with what you're saying about the Ten Commandments. They just want to be smart and get a reaction out of you. Flick them off like a flea. Bing. God finger. Ding. But there's other people that are probably reading the comments or will end up reading the comments or even heard these things before, these little trolls, and they might follow the wrong path because these people are trying to mislead them. Scientific, if you believe in the Ten Commandments, then you are more of a pseudoscientist. That's not pseudo. Please tell me what's wrong with the Ten Commandments. Refute the Ten Commandments with an actual argument. And don't just say man wrote it, so therefore it's, not valid. Tell me where it's wrong. See, I feel like I'm battling myself from 10, 15 years ago right now. Because 10 to 15 years ago, I said the same shit. When I was in my 20s, I didn't know any better. I was like, I'm God. That's why I think you guys might be, 20-year-olds. Because that's where I was at before. Did I take action in, terrible actions against God or anything? I made mistakes, but I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I still stayed within a bounds because I understood the Ten Commandments. I still had them in the back of my head. Like, what if God is real though? So. That's why I'm so good at arguing with this, and that's why I'm so passionate about arguing against this, because I used to be that. I used to be that. I'm looking at a book, I'm like, this has been written by human beings. You can't say that came from a divine place if it's been written by humans. I've had these arguments before. But at the end of the day, what I realized is, well, it took humans, but it also came from word of mouth through what's proper and what's not. You know, there was generations of people, generations after generations of people that realized that there's a way to describe proper behavior and for everybody to be on the same book. I think the Ark of the Covenant, I don't think it was a weapon of destruction in the sense of like, oh, it's got a laser on it. I think instead it was just the Bible, teachings, translated scripts, so that you can translate with a barbaric nation and you can literally just take out an entire nation with that information. If you can translate to a barbaric tribe the, you know, Christianity and stuff, and you'd be like, this nation harmed us, we need a crusade against them because they fucked us over, they got our people, then you're going to see that, you know, nation get destroyed, and then you're going to find peace with that tribe. So I think that's what the Ark of the Covenant actually was. I think we've already found the Ark of the Covenant. It wasn't some kind of box. It was, you know, it was a box, but it was what was inside the box that was important. Yeah, the universe is God. God created the universe. So universe is the ultimate ruler here. Yes. God is physics. God is limitation. It's not hard to wrap your head around that. You can't escape the truth. Let's see. If you need the 10 Commandments to understand how to be a good human, then you're a bad human. Tell that to a child. Tell that to a child. They don't know any better. They see food, they're like, I need food. They don't know the 10 Commandments. You have to teach them that. The only reason why we have people not stealing and not robbing each other and stuff and not hurting each other is because of the 10 Commandments, because of these teachings. Otherwise, they would just stay as children, mentally children, and they wouldn't understand these things. You know, be more like Africa, unfortunately, because they don't seem to actually have any rule of law there. They're literally taking out their own farmers, and then they're complaining about a famine. Duh. The only reason why the child ends up learning something is because we had a teaching like that. You know, before Christianity established a nation, it was pretty much barbarism everywhere. Before Alexander the Great rushed around and started crusading and everything, and there was cannibalism. Before there were these rules that were established and universally understood, there was chaos. I don't have Discord. I might get Discord at some point. I'm not sure, but at some point, it doesn't really matter. If you guys, you know, want to actually connect with me, follow me in other places. Follow me on Pumpfun. Watch me go troll the trolls. Watch me, you know, go on Phantom. Go on, like, there's all kinds of places where I'm at where you can communicate with me. But I'm not doing direct communication unless, like, you know, I've met you in a different place. Because generally, I'm not looking for these discussions. I'm just like, just trying to live, man. Trying to display, just trying to explain things the way that I see them and set things straight. You know, nobody has been able to refute what's said in the 10 Commandments to me in this conversation. And yet people are saying that the 10 Commandments are some kind of like holy hell. And it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense at all. I'm just trying to live, man. In order to live, we all need to be on the same page. It's easy to be on the same page if we just take Take into consideration the Ten Commandments. I understand, but because they straight to you doesn't mean they are straight to the whole world. Look, the problem with Israel is the 1.6 million Muslim migrants that have invaded their country, okay? They need to convert to either Jewish or Christianity. They need to convert. Fuck this Muslim shit. That's just a big distraction for them. Muslims, Islam, that's a new religion. The same thing with Catholicism, but Catholicism is like, I think Catholicism keeps some kind of validity because it seems like their top sin is the lie. But that's what I've said. I said that before realizing that about Catholicism. So an inward journey, I realized that lies are usually what leads to sin. And every sin is basically somebody committing a lie. So Catholicism is basically a refined version of Christianity. Christianity is a refined version of like Judaism. Islam and the Quran, it's a whole different thing. Just like Hinduism is a whole different thing. Even though I do lend some, credence a little bit to some of the stuff that Hindus traditionally practice. Hinduism is more of a practice than it is a belief system. So that's where it all really dates from, through tradition. But what brought us together to perform these traditions, these rituals? It was a general understanding under the same umbrella of truth. No, Muslims are a brand new religion. It's like one of the newest religions. It was after we've already established that the Ten Commandments are law. Like, the Ten Commandments are law, nobody's going to tell me differently. If we took the Bible in every literal sense, then you wouldn't be eating fish. Because it literally says in the Bible that if you eat fish, then you will be thrown into the pits of hell. It's like, oh. You know what I mean? I've eaten fish a lot. I guess I'm getting thrown into hell. No, there's no way. It's got unrealistic standards when it comes to the Bible. And that's what brought me to believe and understand that the Bible is a cause and effect manual. If you do this, the chances of that happening, it becomes higher. I'm going to so it's community members only, because that's a good point. I keep forgetting to do this. There. I'll put all messages, look at what everybody has to say. You think a 1,400-year-old religion is new? There have been hundreds of religions formed in the past 300 years alone. Well, I'm not talking about the other 300 years of religions. I'm talking about Christianity and Judaism, the first religions to exist besides Egyptians, and Hinduism. Hinduism is less of an actual belief system. It's more of a tradition system, following traditions. No, I'm not talking about Mormonism. I'm not talking about, all that stuff. That's all brand new religions formed out of other religions that already existed. The Muslim religion is like way different. Christians and Jews are supposed to spread their word and spread their influence by suggestion. Muslims believe that their form of spreading their influence and their tradition is by force, through jihad. There's a huge difference. And the Muslims are so lost in their belief that they actually think that the Quran is a suggestive religion rather than a forceful religion. While their own people are screaming at the top of their lungs that they, jihad and stuff. Like, you'd have to be stupid to not see the truth. No offense. You'd have to be living on the moon for your entire life to not know that. So this was about Pumpfun. It's funny that people distract the conversation. I see what you're doing. There's people on Pumpfun literally promoting rug pulls. They're like, go in 2x, 3x, and then pull out, exit completely. That's what they're telling people. So that's what you're up against. That's why you're seeing rug pull after rug pull after rug pull. It's because you got literally people with their face telling their audience to do that. It's poor 20-year-olds. If anybody in this chat cared, you would see an entire generation of 20-year-olds that are committing crime after crime after crime and have no idea what the consequences will be. You're ignoring the fact that an entire generation of kids that grew up and were taught improperly may end up going to prison. That's a problem. Look at what the title of the video is. I'm talking about Pumpfun here. If you joined in the beginning of the show, then you would understand that there's a problem here and people need to start speaking up about it. Criminals try to bring in more criminals to their syndicate so that there's more heads to go after when they finally receive a consequence. So there's an entire generation of 20-year-olds being led down a very dark path right now. And they're embracing it. That's a problem. So anyways, I'm going to go throw in on some trades. I mean, I wish you guys would join me in a place, not Discord, probably on Telegram. Like, go to my channel, go to t.me/volatile legacy, join the channel there. You can find my socials to go find me in other places too from there. That's the Pumpfun Launchpad. I'll end up launching new tokens on there. And, you guys can get in first and early. But like I said before, the goal when you do get in, profit, but don't exit. Because that's scummy. Why the hell would you profit $1,000? Why wouldn't you leave $1 behind? I do see some people doing it now, though. And I'm noticing it. Very good job. I see a few of you leaving behind $1. Decent people, not freaking assholes, man. I'm watching that stuff. I'm watching for this kind of stuff. I'm following you now. If I see that kind of behavior where, yeah, you profit, oh man, that dude made $900. Damn, I'm a bit jealous. But he left behind $1. He left behind $5, $10. Why not? Why not leave behind that? It's probably because those people who are not leaving behind that are trying to cover up their trail and they're criminals. Those are the people that I don't want to follow. Some people have to exit like me. But what, on $1? I earn $1 and I pull out a whole $1? That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is somebody making $50, $100 and they don't want to leave behind $1 into a token. If you're just trying to destroy the space, you're part of the problem. And you're missing out on potential gains later on. Because if we do bring health back to this community, to the Pumpfun community, then you might see a parabolic rise in your entire wallet. Your wallet might grow $1,000 in a day, just automatically because you held $1 in all these tokens. If we all add health to the community, we don't have to be making tokens. We don't have to be the owners. We don't have to be the developers. We don't have to be in on the group or any of that. If we all add more health to the community, we can all benefit. exit. No, don't exit, but profit. That's the goal. Have a good day, everybody. I appreciate all of the haters and all of the good people out there. And I hope everybody is lucky today and finds me on Pumpfun at Godfinger. And if you do find me on Pumpfun, understand that I'm calling them fleas and vampires a lot. I generally think that there's robots watching me whenever I see people watching. So anyways, have a good day. Thank you for joining. Later.